let me introduce myself. My name is Irina Kim Sang, and the way how I would usually introduce myself, if we ever meet in the elevator, for example, I would say that I'm a broker associate with Coldwell Banker specializing on affluent Russian-speaking clients. So my question to you guys, do you have your personal 30-second commercial? Could you please raise your hands if this ran through your mind and you already have determined those 2 sentences in your mind when you meet someone? Again, sometimes people say it depends on the situation, depends on the occasion, etc. But in general, do you have your 30-second commercial? Could you please raise your hands? All right, so this is a bad sign actually for the class where we're going to talk about branding. So the first thing that you probably have to make a note of for yourself of today's presentation is definitely to start thinking in that line that you do need to have the 30-second commercial. So by the end of my presentation, I hope I'm going to give you the tools that you're going to use in order to come up with that message, okay? I did presentation on the realtor branding topic before, but this is, I think, a special occasion when, especially after Neil introducing the topic of luxury. So anyone in this room, I would like you to kind of sit back, relax, and just don't really concentrate that we're always speaking about luxury when we're thinking about successful real estate agent, okay? So the fact that is everyone wants to succeed is certainly true for everyone in this room, right? But as Neil mentioned, in specific markets, you might not necessarily even have the luxury market, right? So please, interpret the information that I'm going to give you today is that you can build successful business and especially successful personal brand in any market you want. Would you agree with this? Okay? All right, so let me ask you a question. If you, who likes the shortcuts in this room? Do you guys like shortcuts? Yes. All right, okay. So I'm actually, this is my, one of my objectives for this presentation is to give you a shortcut in the following form. We can study the books, we can go to many different classes, we can read tons of information in different blogs and get different marketing ideas. Do you agree? So when we open, I follow so many different blogs on marketing, and my background, professional background is corporate marketing. So this is my profession. I do a lot of marketing work for not only real estate, and therefore I track different techniques, different channels, different trends. And if somebody, I read something, oh, everyone has to go on Facebook. I mean, is this true? For some markets, yes. For some markets, no. So the key to success that I'm going to share with you is actually to have a formula or to have a blueprint. In other words, to have components of your brand that you are working consistently on. So I'm going to give you a formula of personal branding. And if you know the components of the formula, you certainly can improve your personal brand as you build it with the time. So let me just address a couple of questions to you so that we build a little bit of interaction. Guys, how do you think, why do we need to brand? Give me a couple of suggestions, give me ideas. Okay, recognition, differentiation, okay. Set yourself, yeah, differentiation, setting yourself apart. So you become the #1 person who they're gonna reach out when the need comes, right? Okay, any other? Why do we need to brand ourselves?
Perception. To buy real estate in people's brains.
Exactly, so you need to actually, Neil mentioned this several times, you have to have that perception, that people have the right perception of you. They are associated, they have a specific image about you, and they do not have, they don't have to look further when the need comes to pick up the phone and have only the phone of that specific real estate agent. The second question that I want to ask, how many times, guys, let's say you have a need, you have an attorney, you have a legal case. So you pick up the phone, you have your legal advisor, would you agree? You have headache, you have your doctor's phone, right? You pick up the phone, you have your doctor's phone. You pick up your own phone, and do you have that one phone for real estate agent? In many cases, people do not have their preferred real estate agent. Would you agree? So the power of marketing and what we are going to discuss today is actually to solve the issue and to make that perception and establish that image when you become that preferred phone number saved in their personal device. So I'm going to give you a couple of reasons why branding is so critical, guys. Did you know that we have one realtor for 175 residents in Florida? This is very, very high concentration. We're not actually number one in these statistics. Arizona is number one, Hawaii number two. We are taking place number 3, followed by Washington, D.C. So, I mean, I heard the joke when people are saying, after people get their driver's license, they typically get their real estate license, right? So it's very, very common for people in Florida to have real estate license. And sometimes it's disappointing that people are actually treating it as just a license and not as a profession. But I'm sure people who are in this room, they treat it as not only a profession, but as a business, and the business can be that they want to make success. All right, guys, when we go to different events and we meet each other, right? We certainly, I mean, I'm sure having such a big competition around us, we need to think how many qualities we can actually put in line for ourselves, or what kind of characteristics we can draw from us to, like Neil has mentioned, that it could be personality, right? So that we can actually start building brand based on them. So we need to know how different we can be and what will make us different. There are tons of benefits of branding, but I really want to focus your attention on the last 4, because the first 35 are just the common ones that you will all name. Guys, would you agree that when you have a personal brand, when you know what you are trying to build out of yourself, you are going to avoid reinventing yourself consistently. And this is the key. It's not like, oh wow, the market is going bad, so I have to shift, I have to change, I have to do this. Okay, this deal fell apart, now I have to start a completely different marketing program. No, when you have branding, you know exactly who you are, you know exactly who you're going after, you know exactly what the tools are to reach that market. All right, the second thing that I wanted to point out as benefit of branding is that, do you agree that when you know what kind of brand you're building, you actually allow yourself to dream big? Would you agree? Okay. Number 3, when you are building a brand, you're leaving legacy versus you are just doing the business. And the last one, which I think a lot of people will like in this room, is that by the end of the day, branding is all about leveraging. Ask yourself a question: am I building a business which I can sell? If your answer is going to be no, I don't think I'll be able to sell. No one is going to be interested in my database, nothing, right? You don't have a clear, you have not built a brand, okay? So branding is actually the exercise when you are so confident and convinced of who you are becoming, that at the end of the day, you are convinced that somebody is going to be interested in purchasing that power that you have accumulated over years. So if the answers to those questions that I have addressed right now is negative, that means you are just doing the business. And it could be fine. Some people are are involved in real estate temporarily, but again, I assume that people in this room are trying to build a very successful business. All right, so let me bring a couple of facts to add how critical branding is, and then I will certainly answer the question, the main question of the presentation is, so how to build a brand? So the first thing is definitely real estate is a cyclical business, as I mentioned. And I'll give you an example. One successful agent was asked the question, what do you do when the business goes sour, right? Like the market is bad, the market is tough. And what do you do during the bad times? So she answered very clearly. She said, I do not have bad times. In fact, my business is flourishing when the market is bad. Why? Because normal consumer is not going to call friend, family, his mother to list the property. They're going to go after a professional agent who is in the business, who's consistently working the market, and who can guarantee results. Would you agree that this is absolutely true with real estate? Okay. Fact number 2. The second thing, real estate is a very individual sport. Yes or no? Yes. And of course, we can talk about the teamworks and groups. It's true that you can establish a very good team, successful team, but on average, right, in general, it's a very individual type of sport. People don't really even think about brokerage that you represent, even though we want to leverage on the brokerage name. But in general, people will recall their name, that they want to deal. Again, going back to Neil's presentation, they want to deal with that person, with that personality, and not specific corporation. Okay? And number 3. If you can see this cartoon, it says, annual instant gratification 0-mile run. Runners to mark, get set, go. Okay, just get your t-shirts. So, real estate is a long-term commitment, right? I mean, it's a total myth that you can just get your license, learn a couple of tricks, get some shortcuts, and start doing the business, especially if we're talking about luxury market, right? The whole idea is that you have to set yourself for a long marathon. In order to do that marathon, you have to be very careful on how you're going to keep the information and build relationships over time. The person who you met today is not going to buy tomorrow. I mean, it could be true. There are success stories about this, but definitely in general course of action, you have to set your mind on the long course in order to do the results and be successful. And finally, the 4th fact about real estate is that real estate is about, it's not who you know, but who knows you. I think this is, this is not my statement, but I would usually use it as one of the key quotes in real estate. It's really about who knows you. I'll give you a little bit of my personal story. I moved to Miami 7 years ago, and the question was, should I continue corporate America or do something else? So as everyone in this room, let's try something new. So I did start my real estate career, so came to the same boat as 43,000 agents at that time. So I could certainly just start farming the area where I live in, and I live in Palmetto Bay. But I realized that I have certain characteristics or certain skills or certain traits that I can actually package and go after a specific niche. In my case, I do speak different language. So language became one of the strengths, and I focused on specific type of the language group, specific type of market. So I was able to break through very fast. I could really waste my time, right, without specialty, without the niche, and be somewhere in 5 years, right? But certainly knowing those answers, what I'm going to show you right now, gave me a big breakthrough. All right, so the question now is, give me the formula. So I promised you to give the shortcut, right? And I'm going to give you the shortcut. So how to brand. Before, guys, any branding process start, if I work, if I'm marketing Coca-Cola or marketing ice cream, whatever I do, the first thing that needs to be started is to do the audit. Audit is not the financial term in this case, but what I call brand audit. In other words, guys, would you agree that the whole world is online now? Whatever question you have, you either ask Siri, right? My son, he's 14-year-old. He's like, Alex, can you type such and such address? And he's like, Siri, how to get there? So like no one even already bothered to talk about it or type it. I mean, everyone is just asking questions to the universe and you get the answer, right? So imagine in some time, we're gonna say, give me the best realtor in Pinecrest. And it's gonna pop up the names with the qualifications and reviews, etc. I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be the times like this, right? So what is the main task right now is to be found in one shape or another. So I'll give you, again, I usually give this example. I wouldn't share this personal information if it would be earlier in the days, but I met my husband online, and again, it's been enough time to say that it works, okay? So now we have a joke in the family, is that he said, it was your best marketing campaign. Right? So the idea behind is that you have to see what comes up, and I'm going to give you three steps. You have to, in other words, you have to do the marketing audit of yourself or your reputation online, right? So you have to Google yourself, right? So what we will do for this part of branding, so this is the initial starting point. We need to do three things. Number one, you have to Google your professional name for the following reasons. Somebody ran into your sign, somebody got your card by business card, and I'm really thinking no one uses business cards now, so don't really think too much of it, okay? But let's say in the event your name has been mentioned, the first thing people will do is they Google your name. Are you with me? Yes. They will check you out before they even talk to you, before they even call, especially calling you, interacting with you, etc. So Google your professional name. I've been teaching many classes at the association, and we have it's more interactive because they have more time. So one person just typed his name, and a lot of cases on murder came up associated with his name. Of course, if you would add more information, Florida, middle name, and this and this and this, you would thought it's a different person. But the point is, he even never knew, right, that this could be one of the biggest failures, because simply when he's checked out online, he doesn't have that reputation that you really want to have, right? So let me give you a trick. Check yourself, so check your professional name, not just on your personal device. When you know that, right? When you use your phone and do specific searches from time to time, the phone picks up that information and it's gonna land the same results. You want to be true what is really happening online. So what I do, seriously, I mean, I'm not joking. I go to Apple Store, I'm sorry. I go to Apple Store and I go to different stations and I check out things that I'm telling you. Like for example, the first thing is my name. So I check on public computer things that I want to check about myself, all right? And you will see the results, because this is the real results from different computers, from different public access computers, okay? So this has to be done. This is number one. The second part of the audit, guys, is you need to check out what comes up in association with the key search words that you want to be associated with. For my specific case, my key search words were Russian-speaking realtor. Okay? This is my Bible, this is my stamp, and this is how I want to be found. So let me ask you a question. Do you guys have the key search words that you would like to be associated with? Can you raise your hands if you do? All right, perfect. If you do not have those key search words simply because you didn't get to the point that you decided what you want to specialize on or what you want to be associated with, but this is the result that eventually has to happen. What happens is, right now, if you do the test and if you type my key search words, my website, which is manufacturing.com, is going to come number one. And it's not because I paid Google to do the ads for me, or I paid Facebook to do Facebook ads. No. Everything has, you can be surprised how much room you actually have to be promoted for specific niche. You think, wow, this is just such a generic term. There are so many things that could come up as a result. But if you really do the search for something that you exactly know what you want to specialize on, you don't really get the good quality information. So think about it. Google those terms and see, do you really have the niche to take over? And then, if you want, again, we can speak more about later on, I can stay after how you actually do it. But it's very, very doable. Very few people actually possess a particular niche. I'll give you another example. There's an agent in Coconut Grove, and he took all the words with coconut, okay? So it's pretty much when you just start typing coconut, not even get into the word grove, his name as a realtor, because his blog is called Crazy Coconut, His website is called Real Estate in Coconut Grove. So the more you get to repetition of those key search words, of course the ranking is going to be higher. And again, you think that it's hard and complicated. The good news, very few agents possess the niche. Okay? At some point I had the privilege of working with the Jills as their marketing manager, and their key search words is luxury, real estate on Miami Beach. So whenever you type luxury real estate Miami Beach, their name is number one. So ask yourself, find those words. Do you know those words? And then again, I can give you more technical details how to do it. And the third thing, guys, that you need to audit for yourself. Remember when you do the Google search, you just search the web, so you get the links, right? But you can also you can switch the tab to image tab. So the web tab and image tab. So I want you to see what images come up in the association with your name. With your name, with the key search words. Why do you think it's critical? Why do you think it's critical what images come up in association with you? Exactly. I mean, people are visual. People will tend more to recognize and remember information, visual information, such as pictures. And imagine if you consistently bombard the internet with luxury images, right? They are going to perceive you immediately as a person specializing in luxury. So consistency in images and what you are talking about immediately differentiates you into a specific niche. The question is, how do you think, guys, that Google picks up those images? It's not the images that are on MLS. No. Okay, I'll give you a quick tip. Before posting any image on blog, website, okay, or YouTube channel, the image file has to have the name using your key search words. So, no file should be uploaded as being 123.jpg. It should be RussianRealtor.jpg. The name of the file for the image should contain the words that you would like to be searched for, to be found when people type those words. That's how the images are being associated and how Google picks them up in association with your name, with your key search words, etc. Do you have questions about this?
Similar to hashtags.
Similar to hashtags, yes.
Because anytime you hashtag, say Russian realtor.
Yes, exactly.
Same
Whatever
thing,
comes.
because you hit hashtag, it's going to go directly.
Yes. But you need to, again, it's technical, you need to differentiate. And hashtag works for social media, and this works for ranking and any other content online. All right? Good? Perfect. All right, let's get to the formula now. Okay, so here is the shortcut that I would like to give you as the takeout of the day, guys. First of all, guys, because I'm coming from a marketing background, corporate marketing background, I mean, it's known. There's so much theory about marketing, and so number one theory is that people do not recall more than 7 digits. Okay, so that's why we have 7-digit phone numbers. And I mean, we don't need to memorize them now, but before we did, right? So 7 pieces of information are easy for people to remember. And therefore, the formula of personal branding, guys, consists of 7 components. Being an Asian descent, everything matters in the presentation. So for me, even the colors have specific meaning of every single component. So the first part of starting to build your brand is you have to understand what are you as a product, okay? So knowing yourself is the first building block, and I'm going to give you exercise as we continue the presentation. The second one is, once you know what strengths you have and what you can offer to your clients, you certainly know what clients you're going after. So the second component of personal branding is people and place. Who you're going after, okay? Number 3. Again, guys, this is a very, very logical sequence of steps. The third component of how to build your personal brand is you now need to align, okay, who you are and who you're going after with the image that you want to communicate to the people who you're going after. In marketing terms, it's called positioning. So you want to understand for yourself what is the image you are trying to establish to align who you are with who you're going after. Number 4, look at the top. So you pretty much did the hardest part of personal brand if you have completed the first 3 blocks. So you know who you are, you know who you're going after, you know what image you want to communicate to them. Once you know this in your head and you're convinced that this is exactly what I am and who I want to go to market myself to, you are ready to package yourself. Before that, you're like, oh, I need a logo, oh, I need a new brochure, I need a postcard, I need this and that and that. You are really confusing yourself because if you don't know the answers for the first 3, you are not ready even to choose your colors, your logo, your type, your font, your signature. Nothing above. So once you do that, you are ready to do number 4, which is packaging. So you're packaging yourself. And let me tell you guys the good thing about packaging yourself. Again, everything started from logo, finishing up with your looks. Everything communicates about your brand, right? If you want to show that you're very conservative very conservative, you dress a certain way. If you show that you're very creative, you make a statement even through your the way how you talk, the way what you share, the way how you present yourself, etc. So packaging, I want to give you a very good news about packaging part of the formula. Many people are trying, really wasting their time, okay, trying to experiment. Oh, okay, I'm gonna do the logo first, do this and that. So what I suggest, once you know the answers to the first 3, just hire one professional, okay, a designer, a graphic designer. By the way, guys, the difference between graphic designer and an artist. How do you think? What is the difference between designer and artist? Any guesses to get the philosophical juices here? Designer versus artist. Guys, artist does not know what is going to be the end result because he keeps working on something that he doesn't know what's going to be the end result. Designer has to know up front what is the objective of the design. And see, I'm making your life easier because you already know the first 3 answers. You will be able to communicate to the designer what kind of brand you're developing, right? What kind of mood that particular graphic has to inspire. What is the perception of the colors that you want to choose for your website? All of this can be done with professional help only if you answer the first 3. Are you with me? Okay. And then guys, do not even waste your time outsourcing different people. Give the task to one and get the package. Meaning, you have your letterhead, you have your logo, you have your style. I know some brokerages, they're very conservative, so they want you to keep their branding, which is even easier for you, okay? So you decide, but it has to be one solid packaging. Finally, guys, this is my favorite part. I feel so passionate about reaching out, component number 5. The feeling that you have to get after completing the green box is like this. I'm so proud of my brand and what I stand for that I want to promote it all over the world. I want to put it as a stamp on my forehead. I want to put it on my car. I want to brand my house. I want to brand everything if you are really proud of what the branding stands for. If you don't get this feeling, you're not ready to promote your brand. You're not convinced what you are really trying to promote to the universe, okay? So, if you do, here is the blue box, which is number 5, promotion. And here's the trick, guys. Some people think that promotion is like, okay, I personally, as I mentioned, I read so many different up-to-date information. It says 100 ways to advertise on Facebook, 200 ways to do the videos. So In other words, you have all these ideas, but you don't really know how to put them together, or how to prioritize them, or how to find the best tools for your specific need. Here is the solution, guys. Solution is very easy. Just think of your strategy as two avenues, two highways. The first highway, what you're gonna do online, and the second highway, what you're gonna do offline. And that are the keys. So, online, offline. How you're going to promote yourself online, and how you're going to promote yourself offline. So let's work together on this. What are your major tools and channels online? Tell me, online. Website, okay? Newsletter. Anything sent, communicated electronically. Social media, yes. Anything else? Blogs, yeah. Blogging, yes, blogging. Pretty much that's it. I mean, yes, we can continue with specific tools, but the question is, do you have to be present in every single channel? How do you think? The answer is no. You don't have to be present and active in every single channel. What you need to do is you must establish and brand all the channels throughout. So it is consistent and it's recognized. But you don't have to be active in every single one. Example, I have a friend who is, I know that that particular type of clientele, in my case Russians, they like Instagram. So I would rather be on Instagram, right, versus Twitter. So you have to be very selective. Or if you're going after a specific language group or international type of buyers, right, you know which particular media is more in use in that particular country. So again, being active in specific channels is going to be determined by what? By the type of customers that you're going to go after. So in other words, if you know your answer number 2, you will be very convinced to know what kind of channels you're going after them. In my specific case, for me, actually, the online priority and having the website was number 1. For you, maybe you're gonna be a local, let's say you're specializing on the local business, and you're gonna be source number 1 for local events through your videos, which you're going to share through Facebook. So depending on your target market, you have to, you will be able to choose the channel, okay? Now, shifting to the second highway. So this is online, now second highway, offline. Can you please tell me what are the tools for offline promotion of yourself? Offline. Prospecting, so pretty much going after and physically meeting with people. Here's the deal, guys. What's happening now in the environment, and I'm sure you're gonna, but it's okay. You're gonna agree with me that with the new trends of being consistently online and on our phones, right? People kind of miss out the personal touch, right? It's either this or that. So we don't really, the goal is to find the balance. You will be surprised how many people actually pick up the phone to talk to you because they don't expect that call, right? Like everyone is texting, everyone is group messaging, doing different things. So it's actually now working reverse. If somebody calls you, you are very inclined to talk on the phone. It certainly depends on the audience, depends on the target market, etc. But I'm saying that as a realtor, as the business person in this case, you want to find that right balance between online and offline presence. So prospecting is a very broad term. Let's define more specific types of the prospecting. Example, networking. Guys, do you agree? Networking. And this is a very, again, very wide representation of what you actually do in the networking. So I want to give you a couple of tips how to do successful networking. Before, guys, giving you the solutions, let me ask you a question. How do you think, what is the typical networking time when you start interacting with someone? What is the typical networking interaction time?
2 minutes.
No, not the event, but the
2 minutes.
2 minutes, 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Okay, the statistics, guys, 10 minutes per interaction. What is the typical length of the typical networking event? 2 hours, right? So we have 120 minutes, and we have 10 minutes per interaction, right? Meaning that you start talking, the person starts talking, then the third person comes in, you cannot leave, you have to finish, etc. So that was 10 minutes. 120 minutes divided by 10 minutes. In other words, you are actually going to the event, have 12 chances to meet someone, right? And what typically happens in many situations is that you just go by chance and whatever happens. So you don't really have that objective of certain reaching out to someone. I mean, there could be exceptions. But what I recommend is that you have to come to networking prepared. You have to know exactly who you're going after in the event, okay? And how do you guys prepare for the event? Tell me the tricks. I mean, do you think you can know upfront who is going to be attending the event?
Sure.
Yes. Number one, on the Facebook, you will see who has confirmed their attendance, right? And even if you don't know the names, then you can check out the profiles of those specific people, right? And LinkedIn becomes a very valuable solution to, again, I'm not trying to explain to you how to spy, but I'm trying to explain how you find the information, because like, Russian spy again, okay. Right? So you're trying to get the connections based on the fact that there are so many valuable public resources where you can research upfront, right, and know exactly who you're going after in that specific event. So in this case, even if you just meet that one person, that already makes the whole event more successful for you because you have a very tangible outcome. Okay. All right. So once you do the networking, you can have those tangible outcomes and form a specific relationship and commitments. Another example of the offline, what else you can do offline. Guys, how many times, especially when you start real estate, the first recommendation that you get is you need to go after your sphere of influence. I mean, it's true. Certainly, you kind of rely on the fact that some people know you and they can recommend you to do business with you. However, let's say you're totally new to the place, to the environment, to the people. What do you really do? Okay? Do you have any suggestions for me? Let's say I'm a completely new person in this market. What can I do? How can I start expanding my relationships? I don't have a circle of, I don't have a warm circle. I don't have a circle of influence. Didn't go to high school here, nothing.
Join a local, whether it's a church, a temple, Rotary,
Okay.
Kiwanis.
Perfect. So you gotta join some communities, right? But the question is, usually when we get into the boot camp about real estate, the first solution, do you have a child? Yes, I do. Join PTA. They usually, whoever gives you an advice gives you a very traditional circles. Or join Chamber of Commerce, join this and this, of traditional circles where all the realtors are, right? So you go to those events, who are there? 99% of realtors, right? So, here is the trick. I'll give you this solution how you find new circles for yourself, okay? Very, very easy, guys. You have to make a list of all your hobbies and your genuine interests where you would like to participate, okay? For example, I love interior design, I love architecture. I'm a member of American Institute of Architects, and I'm an affiliate member. I don't have to be an architect to be a part of this circle of architects. Do you see the difference? Okay? Or, at some point I played ping pong, and I could go after Asian market now if I join the ping pong club, where most of the people are going to be Asian people, okay? So you have to look at this idea from two angles. Number one, you're going to be true representation of yourself, genuine representation because it's your true interest and hobby. And number two, you don't have to come in and be shy to say that you're a realtor because you assume everyone is a realtor. In those circles, you're going to be the only realtor, right? So this is another example of kind of rephrasing the whole concept of networking. So be very, very prepared. So go prepared for the networking event and try to be creative with how you find the new circle for networking. Okay, and finally I have two more components, and then we round it up, and you see the logic here. So the sixth component of personal branding is definitely platforms. In this case, what it means is you have to set up the database. Platforms means that whatever you are starting to accumulate as your contacts have to be nicely put as golden eggs to be nourished over time. So two things which are critical for database. Number one, you have to have certainly clear understanding how you want to group people and how you want to shift them around, and it's your personal choice. There are so many different ways to do CRMs. Some people still keep Excel spreadsheet, etc., etc. It's not about what exactly the best tool to keep the contacts, but about the procedures. So understand come up with your system, how you group them into buckets, into baskets, into lists, whatever you want to do. But number two, very, very critical, establish procedure to clean up your database, whether it's monthly, whether it's weekly, whether it's after each transaction. But if you don't have a procedure how you are cleaning up your database, it's called jump in, jump out, okay? And finally, projection. You need to know what's coming into the market, what are the trends, and how the brand is going to adapt to change. If you know this upfront and you're forecasting those changes, your brand is not going to be reinvented. It's going to be revolutionized as time goes on. Thank you so much, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video.